Welcome artist to this fun, exciting video. These are my favorite books for 2024. It's a interesting mix. Most of these are easy to find, and many times you can find also used books for better prices, so make sure you shop around. They are very varied, and I will do my best to kind of tell you why I like each one of them. If you want to see more book recommendations, then first of all, I invite you to subscribe. I invite you to join the monthly membership, where every month I recommend a book that I have and love. And I also invite you to check previous videos. They will be listed below, as well as timestamps and links to all of these books, which I think, with the exception of two, are probably very, very easy to have. So let's get into it. The first two books I want to talk about are very widely available. They're relatively new, and they are more of a instruction how-to books focused on watercolors. So I'll start with Creative Abstract Watercolor. This is just like a fun eye candy book if you like watercolors. This is by Kate Rebecca Leach, and it just has some great tutorials that I think are very easy to follow. I was mostly curious about this book. I just wanted to see what was in it. I do paint abstracts, and I just found it to be very beautiful and inspiring. There are like lots of techniques here that can show you different ways to get texture in your work, and I think she did a great job. So it's very straightforward. It is what you see is what you get, and you have here a lot of really nice tutorials. You can make these, of course, with any colors you want, but this would be beautiful to make and use as cards, as wall art, all sorts of things. It looks really meditative and relaxing. So I'm not going to show you the entire book, but hopefully this gives you an idea of what's in it. And I just thought it was really well made, and also a topic that there's not a ton to find about it, which is abstracts in watercolor. So this is the Creative Abstract Watercolor. If there is a book that I'm showing here that you want to see like a full flip through, then leave me a comment below and I'll see what I can do. Now, the next one is really interesting. It is by Ana Victoria Calderon. She is super well known in the watercolor world. She has a ton of classes on places like Skillshare and Domestika, where you can take one of her classes. She does a lot of these like Aurora Borealis, gems type of artwork. Very colorful, very fun to watch. And I like the concept of this book. So this is called Color Harmony for Artists. I just have one criticism, but how to transform inspiration into beautiful watercolor palettes and paintings. So choosing a color palette is one of those things that personally I find myself dealing a lot with, and I think this is a really fun book. So basically, after this kind of introductory chapter, you get color palettes that are inspired by something. So here it's this artwork, and there's a bunch of other things. I think this is fantastic. What I'm not loving in this is I really wish the colors were organized in kind of color wheel order or rainbow order. I think then it would help to see the kind of slight differences between the shade, but that is my minor criticism. Also, I would have appreciated if the colors that she used were more clearly written. There is no, for example, here, I don't know which blue she used, which green, how she got these effects. I don't know. It's not written. So, and I don't think it's written elsewhere. So to me, that's a little bit of, I don't know, kind of like missing the point. I mean, maybe for people who have been painting with watercolors for a long time, they can recognize the things. But, I mean, here she mentions a color by Holbein, and she says you can use white gouache. And here she says she created many olive greens and made a perfect mint by adding equal amounts of emerald green and white gouache. But it would have been just nice to have even like swatches and names. So that's kind of my only criticism of this book. Again, I really wish, like, my brain just loves seeing things in rainbow order or color wheel order. But other than that, I think it's a really fun concept and inspiring book, which I haven't really seen anything like that. And I always appreciate kind of originality and this focus on color, which is very near and dear to my heart, as you know. And I will mention that I have, if you haven't seen, I have a watercolor mixing book where I mix a ton of colors, and you can see exactly how I created each shade. And those are mixes you will not find anywhere else. So if you want to see what your watercolors can do, I highly, highly recommend checking that out. But it goes on and on. There are like more, this is beautiful. And I wanted to show you, I didn't know this book until this year, and I thought it was a really fun concept. Okay, next is a category of its own, which is books of artists. Now, the thing is with such books is that many times they will have a ton of wording and text and small pictures of the artwork, and I don't like that at all. And so my monthly recommendations are always very, very specific with, I only recommend books that have a lot of imagery. And this book is such. This is by Taschen. I think this is a German publisher, but they also print in English. And this one is, I don't know how to pronounce this name, so I'm really sorry. Basquiat, I'm gonna guess. I don't know. I know this, like with French, you don't pronounce like half the letters, so forgive me. But I just love the artwork. If you're not familiar with this artist, sadly, he had a very short life. There he is. But he painted a lot. And this little book, this is a relatively small book, but it, as you can see, it's like super, super thick. This book just has a ton of his artwork. It's very kind of like graffiti, raw, sketchy style, which I absolutely love. And so I can't show you like the whole book. He also just uses like these pops of color. It's very graphic, and I really, really love this book. It's just full of his artwork. There's not a lot of words here, which is what I like. There's a lot of like pop culture of the time. And I love this book. I look at it often. And I think it would be a great addition to any artist's inspiration library. So you can see. Taschen, this publisher, they have a lot of these like smaller books. I think there are just like smaller versions of larger books that are exactly the same. And they have these for many artists. And I just love them because they're not that expensive like those big art books. And B, they just have like a lot of imagery. So this book, it's kind of on its own in this category. I have a few other favorites, but this one was probably my favorite this year. I think like a couple of books that are also a little bit stand on their own. I have a dedicated video to this, which also the author commented on, which I'm really, really happy. But I wanted to give her a shout out again to Emily Powell and Sarah Moore. They are sisters, they're artists. And this book is a little bit of everything. It's mindset, inspiration, lots of yummy, delicious pictures of artwork, which I love. And there's also this theme, like this recurring theme, where they talk about other artists and highlight one of their pieces, and then they paint something inspired by that artist. And I really love that, and I think it just adds richness to this book. I just love her boats, Emily Powell. She's fantastic. She has a lot of classes on her website, which are quite affordable. And if you get them, like, follow her and sign up for her newsletter, and then you can join these classes for like the live Zoom, and then later you will have the recording. But I thought this book was super fun, and I love her artwork. It's very colorful. And yeah, I just think very, very inspiring. So there's a dedicated video. I will link it here. But this is lovely. Start painting now. Discover Your Artistic Potential by Emily Powell and Sarah Moore. Also, a bit on a category of its own. This year I've been doing probably more drawing and sketching in my sketchbook than previous years. And so I think a lot of all of the books that I want to show you from now on are more in that illustration sketchbook world, which I have really, really dove in, and I'm just loving being inspired by illustrators. They have kind of a different process and different ways of, I don't know, sketching the world around them. So I really love, there are like a few illustrators that I'm just loving seeing their videos and content. But this is just like a really great book to have on hand if you want to get a bit more into drawing, but kind of keep it simple and then be able to draw almost everything. So it's just like a really, really cute little book. There are a few similar books to this one, but I think I really like the format of it. It's not too big, and it has like these kind of color-coded pages, and there's like everything. There's a huge section on animals. Then there's a section of people, plants, foods. I love this pink section. Around the house. What else? Architecture and sites. So this is really, really fun. I haven't actually even like gone through this particular section. Bridge, restaurant, landscapes, super cute. Again, architectures and sites. Vehicles. It's really fun. By the way, if you haven't tried painting, sketching like cars and buses, it's really, really fun. So yeah, I think a great reference to have if you want to do more sketching, illustrating, that type of thing. You can use this with your kids. My daughter loves this book also. Okay, now to something completely different, but I had to mention it because it's one of the things that I kind of cherish the most in my library. So I'm talking about the artwork of Arai Ryoji. I'm sure I butchered that. I think he's Japanese, and he's an illustrator. I have a few of the books that he illustrated. These two are my favorite because of the colors, because they're like happy colors, but this one is probably my favorite, and I picked this one up in Japan. I didn't know the illustrator, and I think a very kind viewer kind of tracked this book and helped me find other books. So I'll just show you inside. Children's books can be so beautiful and inspiring because they will have also like these huge pieces of artwork, and I just love his texture, colors. It is so inspiring. I've had, like, this book just has a lot of pink, so I'm very drawn to that. And you can just get lost in the little details and illustration and texture and colors. I think this is just like so beautiful. I look at this often. I just love like the textures here. It's like just blobs of paint. I guess this looks like a field of flowers with the unicorn, the white unicorn with the pink hair just flying through. For me, this is just a joy to flip through. And he has more books that are, the colors are not, there's not so much pink in them, but they are beautiful. So they can be a bit tricky to hunt down, but I got quite a few from like online bookstores, so I didn't need to like, you know, hunt things down on eBay or anything like that. I mean, just look at the pink. I just love his style. And I have no idea what this book is about, but I think it's so beautiful. It's really one of the books that I love the most in my library. This is another newer one that I got, and I think I did a flip through of that a couple of months ago in the Joy Art Club. So yeah, the work of him. Okay, now again to something a little bit different, and this is, I think, the only book here that is harder to get and might be out of stock, but it's so beautiful that I wanted to mention it, and I'm sure it will be available. If it's not right now, I'm sure it'll be available sometime soon. So this is the Devon and Cornwall sketchbooks by Emma Carlisle. She's an amazing illustrator. Her Patreon is amazing. Even if you sign up just for like the £6 tier, which is, I think, the second cheapest one, you still get access to a ton of content. She's amazing. She's also a teacher, and that's very obvious in her videos that she knows how to teach. This book is self-published, I'm pretty sure, and it is a record of her sketchbooks. It's quite big, so I can't like completely fit it in the screen. But this is kind of the book. And she talks a little bit about her process and like state of mind, but most of it is just, you know, scanned images of her sketchbooks, which I just love. She has another one, smaller, from her trip to New Zealand. It's also lovely, but this one is just, there's more. I mean, it's more expensive, but there's more sketchbook deliciousness to see. So I just think it's unique, and I love supporting artists in this way. She also has children's books that she illustrated. There's one about a river that she recently published or had published, and you can get those as well. But this one, I think, for like artists and people that love sketchbooks, I think this one is just beautiful, and you will absolutely love having this in your library. So, Devon and Cornwall sketchbooks by Emma Carlisle. Now, the last two books are probably my favorites because I'm a huge fan of variety, and it's just nice to be able to get that in a book. So the first one, and again, this is kind of a nod more to the illustration world, which I love. So this one is Picturebook Makers, and these are the artists that are featured here. And this, I'll show you, the next book is kind of similar in concept, but probably this one goes a little bit deeper into coming up with like a concept of a book. And I won't be able to show you like the whole thing because then the video will be really long. But it just features really different styles of illustrations, and you get a peek into this world. So very different styles, which is what I like about this book. And I'll show you my favorite. This one is probably my favorite, this illustrator, Beatrice, because she uses pink. No, but just like also the texture of her illustrations. I really love them, so I'll show you. I don't know, this year I really fell in love with illustrative work. Not that I do any myself, I just find it very enjoyable to look and also see illustrators work. So yeah, that's probably my favorite. But there's a lot more, like this one, for example. The use of blue in his work, I think, is really interesting. And there's more. So you can read about their process. This one is also lovely. I love the line work here, the use of like pencils. And then this one is completely different, right? This one is more ink stains, and it's just beautiful. If you want some affordable illustration courses, just to kind of dip your toe, I don't know if you won't become like a successful illustrator just by taking them, I think. But there are like a few really fun classes in Domestika. So I just, like, sometimes for me, art courses are better than Netflix. That's how I feel. And when I watch people like Sandy Hester or certain courses on Domestika or Creative Bug, to me, it's like better than any TV show. Okay, now I think I managed to show you the entire book almost. So, real eye candy, lots of inspiration. Picturebook Makers. Who actually assembled this? I don't know, but it's a beautiful, beautiful book. And then the last one, this is also probably a favorite this year. This is called Illustrators Sketchbooks. And again, these are just mostly pictures of sketchbooks. Emma Carlisle, that I mentioned before, she is also in this book, alongside many, many others. So you can see there's like a list here of a lot of illustrators. Probably there, I see already the Beatrice, the one that I told you that I like. She's here. And I'm sure there are more that you can find in both books. But the camera is, there we go. So I'll show you, this is like a huge book. And you just get a glimpse at a lot of sketchbooks. So this is, again, this is the this Italian illustrator. Here I see that her sketchbook work is more like black and white, quite different. This, for example, is another Japanese illustrator. And again, you can see kind of like the line work here. Super fun. Like those scribbles, I love that. And then something completely different, a lot more, completely different style. And so it goes, and on and on. I did a complete flip through of this book in previous months in the Joy Art Club. And we were all very inspired. I love this loose watercolor sketch. It's beautiful. I love such books. Please let us know in the comments, what are your 2024 favorite books? I would really love to know. I'm just one person, and I'm sure there are amazing books that I haven't even heard of. So maybe let us know, like a book that you think everyone should be talking about, but no one is, or very few are. So let us know in the comments. I also have a few books that I really want to add to my library, and I'm hoping to do a live stream kind of talking about my wish list. So these are things I can't recommend because I haven't tried them, but I would like to have them, and so I want to hear people's opinions. So I think I'll do a live stream, so make sure you are subscribed so you are notified. I always get, after I do live streams, I always get messages, oh, I missed it. And obviously not everyone can be online when I'm streaming, but I do post that. If I'm doing a live stream, I do post it a few days before, so you can hit the notify me tab and you will get an email and probably like an alert on YouTube when I go live. And I also do my best to send emails, so make sure you're in my newsletter list. I rarely email because I always feel like I'm bugging people. But then, oh, this is beautiful. Beatrix Potter. Yeah, wow. I just love these like lines. Lovely. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I am looking forward to reading about your favorite books this year. I will see you very soon in another video. Take care. Bye bye.